Well, you know what? It's like any team at practice so far. It's practice. It's the beginning of trying to get the team together. And I love the effort of the guys. I love the teamwork of the guys. And it's now just a matter of finding out, which guys mesh the best together. And that's why we practice. But, I'm feeling good about where we are right now.
Has anybody surprised you in terms of where they are, either a newcomer or one of the returners in terms of their
Well,
development?
I mean, honestly, I'm really not surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am pleasantly surprised that every one of our guys that is returning, Pablo Patron, Big Dragon, even the red shirt, Justin Raffington, Kelvin Penn, Jackson Trapp, every one of those guys has gotten better. And that's important in our program and any program is for guys to improve. And every one of those guys, you can see that they've worked real hard on their skills, and they are better basketball players now than they were a year ago, and that bodes well for us.
Another tough non-conference schedule. Why do you feel it's so important to play such a strong non-conference schedule?
Well, there's so many reasons, Justin. I mean, first, part of it is we have to. We have to bring in money to run the program, so you have to play a certain amount of guarantee games, just like they do in football. But thank God it's not football where you could lose half a team on a given Saturday. We play the schedule that we play and the people that we play because there's a lot of people that buy games. In fact, quite a few schools in the country, have what they call buy games. So they buy games that they think they can win. When we play a game, we go somewhere. Obviously we're not going there to lose, but we're going for an experience as well as the payday. So when you go and you play at places like Rupp Arena in Kentucky or Allen Fogg Fieldhouse in Kansas, when you go to play at places like that, and then this year we're going to the number one, I think, venue in all of college basketball, and that's Cameron Indoor. You get a chance, number one, to play against probably the number one team in the country. That'll tell you where you're at, what you need to do. You're playing in an incredible atmosphere, which is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for most kids other than the guys that play at Duke. And it's usually on national television. So we try to get games that give us all of that. It gives us the payday we need, gives us the exposure we want, and it gives us the experience that hopefully will get us better.
Apologize for my tardiness.
It's okay. You're here.
And I'm glad to be here. When it comes to the first few practices, what have you figured out about your team thus far?
Well, the good thing about this year is we started practices earlier. I mean, they had basically adopted the women's rules, which you can start practice 40 days before your first game, and you've got 30 days to practice. So I would say normally we wouldn't be starting practice until the 15th, which is what, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like to think that we're 2 weeks ahead. Usually about the second week in, you've sort of figured out who you got, what you want to do with what you got, and you start making all kinds of changes. So we've done that already, which is great. So now when the 15th rolls around, which is tomorrow at tomorrow's practice, we got a pretty good idea of what we're going to be doing, and we can just really we can keep working on it. So it's really been great.
And that rules change couldn't have come at a better time for you, knowing the turnover with this team, being able to get that. If this were, say, last year and you had the same circumstances on your hands, you would be having to go into hyperdrive a little bit to figure
Well,
out
you know what? Not really. I mean, every year's a new team because the players change every year. So regardless of whether you got 5 or 6 new kids, what you hope is that the guys returning are also new kids. They're new creations. They're better players. So I wouldn't really it really wouldn't make that much of a difference because even 1 or 2 kids can change your whole, the scheme of things, both offensively and defensively. So I don't think we would change anything that we've done, and I don't think it would make that much of a difference.
any clarity when it comes to tempo or style of play.
No, not yet. I mean, style of play. I mean, every coach in America stands at a podium like this and says, we want to run, we want to press, we want to play man to man.
Right.
And the reality is that not every team is built for that. And once you start playing, kids, as much as they say they want to run, they want to play up tempo, they get a little tired, they want to walk it up the floor. So what we have to do is we got to get in shape, the kind of shape that says we can practice at an up-tempo pace because we want to be able to get the other team tired. But at the same time, we won't know for a little while yet what's our best style of play. So I would say right now, I mean, the perfect style is you run when you can, and you run good offense when you can't, and you play defense all the time. That's what we want to do.
Sounds pretty good.
It always sounds good.
How long do you think? I mean, clearly, given just the dynamic nature of the sport, you'll always be in sort of a learning process and adapting and adjusting throughout the season. But how long do you think into the season you'll still be in kind of a moldable clay form?
Well, I'd like to hope that we'll know what the end result, what we want the end result to be, and I'd like to hope that even before the season begins, we can be turning the oven up a little bit to make the mold permanent. So that's what I'm hoping, and I think with the kids we got, I think that's a realistic possibility.
You mentioned that you thought that this team could work better offensively in more of a system sense because of the players that you have, unselfish players who can move the ball, shoot the ball, like a little bit of all around on the court now. Have you seen that thus far in practice, that they're working in more of a well-oiled machine?
Well, I wouldn't. It's definitely. I mean, I don't think there's any team in the country that's a well-oiled machine right now, and that probably includes Duke. But what I do see is, and what I know is that we got a lot of guys that like sharing the basketball and feel just as good about making a good pass as they do getting a dunk. So, and it's not to say that we haven't had players like that, because I think we've had pretty team-orientated teams. Our biggest problem in the past is, especially last year, was finishing. Finishing games, and that's a whole lot of things. I mean, it might be a matter of, just a year ago, for example, we didn't have a true point guard. This year, hopefully, we have two. A year ago, you had a lot of pieces that really weren't sure about themselves. I'd like to hope we got more sure pieces and sure parts. And then, we fouled a lot, and we gave other teams opportunities to win, and they did. And we lost eight games by a total of 13 points. So, I mean, we could have just as easily had 20 wins last year as what we had.
How do you coach against fouling? I mean,
Yeah, you know what? You first of all, you try to get into better shape, better condition, because most fouling occurs because guys get physically tired. They start reaching, and a lot of that has to do with mental. I mean, physical fatigue ends up leading to mental fatigue. So a lot of fouls, mental fouls, which are caused by not being in the greatest shape you can be in. And so how do you prevent anything? You prevent it by practicing at it. I mean, practice hopefully makes permanent, and hopefully the thing you're practicing will become somewhat perfect.
how have you seen the 2 point guards, your 2 young point guards,
Yeah.
progress early on? I know you mentioned that you probably wouldn't find out the true test of their mettle until they got on the floor and saw what they did. And obviously, with the tough
Yeah.
non-conference schedule, you'll find out
Sure.
fully. But how have you seen them adapt to the college game just in practice?
Well, they're adapting to the college work. I mean, it's a lot different. I mean, in college, you might practice 2.5 hours, and you're expected to work hard for the entire time. In high school, you pick your spots. In college, it's an intense level. The reality is, you won't find out about the point guards, or anybody for that matter, whether it's in basketball or life, until there's some adversity. So I really won't know what those guys are about. I won't know what our team is really about until after we've lost a couple of games, and we will lose a couple of games or more like everybody else in the country.
When it comes to the exhibitions with Ave Maria, that's the first one.
That's actually a game,
That's a
regular
game
season
day?
game. Yes, it is. We're having exhibitions. Well, I shouldn't say exhibitions. We're having scrimmages against North Florida, who we've scrimmaged the last 2 or 3 years, and it's been a great scrimmage. And we're going to scrimmage Rawlins College, one of the top, if not the top division, NIA program in the country, or one of them. And they also play a great deal of matchup zones, so that's going to be good. And then, so those are basically our exhibitions, scrimmages, whatever. Those are not open to the public. The public will be able to start seeing us when we play on the 8th of November against Ave Maria. That'll be our first non-league game.
This season, with the challenges it's presented, your son, obviously such a focal point of your coaching staff. I've heard what are your expectations for him
Yeah.
heading into this season?
Well, first of all, Mike and I have been together, obviously, for 44 years. He started out as my bat boy at the age of 3 when I was coaching freshman baseball back in Cambridge. My ball boy at the age of 10. My assistant coach with the McDonald's All-American team with Michael Jordan and Chris Mullins and Patrick Ewing at the age of 12. And then my full-time assistant coach at George Washington in 1993 after he graduated from BU. So he's been with me. Nobody knows me better than him. I think I know him better than anybody. He is my co-coach. He is on title my associate head coach. He's one of the best. I consider him the best assistant coach in the country. He's been ready to be a Division I head coach for years now. There aren't many guys that can say they've worked at every institution they worked at has been to the tournament and to the Elite Eight. And he was at Duke. He was with me we were the first father-son coaching team in the history of Division I basketball, first black African-American father-son coaching team, and we've been the longest lasting. Nobody has been together as long as my son and I. People ask me, well, what do you hope? Well, I would hope that when I leave FAU, that Mike will be here as the head coach. That's the way it really should go, unless he has taken another head job at maybe a higher level somewhere else, which is also possible. And then we'll see from there what happens.
Has he had to fend off the offers?
Not really. I wouldn't say fend off. If we had a couple of better seasons since if we had a couple, maybe won a few more games, maybe won some of those, those 8 games we lost last year, I would say so, because you're just not going to find guys with his resume and his pedigree and his feel for the game. He is also, by the way, you'll see him this year doing a lot of in fact, the brunt of the offensive system and play column I put in his hands. So he is also my something that you don't see too often in basketball. He is my offensive coordinator. And what I'd love to be able to do, and what I've done, is said, you run the offense, I'll concentrate on the defense, and hopefully between the two of us, we can get something done.
That's a new line that you were offensive coordinator. That's a new
For basketball.
title.
Because in basketball, the head coach does everything. Probably more than he should. And I really think that's an aspect that if you've got the right people, but normally you don't have somebody like Mike that you can really feel like that he really knows exactly what needs to be done, and he knows what you're thinking. He's usually one step ahead of me. I forget stuff that he remembers. So in basketball, it's a little different. And part of my job also, he's given me 20 years as far as an assistant coach. I've got to finish my job of preparing him to be a head coach. And that's what my job is, not only with Mike, but with Tim Kaine and Pete Gash, and, to get all my guys ready to someday be head coaches.
What's the biggest jump he needs to make?
Just need somebody to pick up the phone and say, I want you to be my head coach, and be willing to pay him enough money for him to leave. To be honest with you, Mike's been ready. He's been ready since we were together at St. John's. He could have been a head coach, and probably should be a head coach right now, to be honest with you. Just needs the opportunity, that's all. And hopefully it's here.
Appreciate it, Coach.
That tip-off dinner.
Do you have a tip-off dinner coming up?
We do. We've got, I'm so glad you asked. It's, I believe, our 3rd annual tip-off dinner, co-hosted by It's Owl Time. And it's going to be at the world-famous Italian restaurant, Matteo's, right here in Boca Raton. They bring their Italian family-style restaurant system to our family. And this year we're hoping for a complete sellout at Matteo's. And the last 2 years have been fantastic in the sense that we've had, we sold out last year with 150. This year we set a number of 200 where we would have the entire restaurant. And it's an opportunity for us to introduce our players, our staff, for people to get some inside information about the college basketball season, and particularly ours. And also, it gives us an opportunity to raise some much-needed funds to do extra things to enhance our basketball program. And this year, the goal is the monies that we raise from the dinner this year will go to help offset the cost of an international tour, which we are planning for next summer. We're looking at going to either Italy or Spain next summer with the team on a basketball, cultural, educational, social, you name it, tour. And this dinner will help us get there. It's helped us do a lot of things. It's helped us buy computers for the kids. It's helped us to basically be able to have a state-of-the-art recruiting vehicle, golf cart that the Shapiros donated. Also, shooting machines. Pete Striano of Northwestern donated at the dinner, and a lot of other enhancement kinds of things. So we've been able to do a ton of stuff through this dinner, and dinner's given us an opportunity to do the little things that our budget would not normally afford us the opportunity to do.
And what's the date on that?
The date,
People sign
I'm
up?
so glad you asked. The date is Monday, November 4th. It'll start, I believe, at 6 o'clock at Mateo's. It'll be a full course party, 5-course dinner, family style. And the dinner itself is worth the tickets. The tickets are $100 a piece. That $100 basically covers the cost of the event, which is dinner, which is gifts. And then most of the money we make is on the live auction that we do. People keep asking me, how can you run this dinner just for $100? And I say, because we're more interested in getting the people there, and then all you need is a few people that have a little deeper pockets that can, bid in the auction item. So that's the event. If you want to get tickets, and everything is done, like I said, through It's Owl Time. All you have to do is go to It's Owl Time, which is Mark Knowles' a great enterprise, and you get your tickets through It's Owl Time. Okay.